So hello everyone and welcome to how to get the game working on a phone probably. So I need to say this right off the bat that the phone that I have is not actually good enough to run Magia Record, so I wasn't able to actually test out many of these ways myself, but I have used some of these ways to still make it work on my phone, and I will be going into some of this. So first off, there are a lot of workarounds to get it work on an Android, because Android is just that good and you should get an Android phone. The first way to do this is you can use ADB, which is an Android debugging tool. Now you don't need to worry too much about how to actually use it, because there is an automatic tool that does all of this for you. Now the stuff that it says right here is a little bit outdated, so I'm going to give you the updated stuff. First of all, you will need to make sure that USB debugging is activated. This is also something that probably a lot of Android users are probably already know how to do, which will be in the most cases, you'll just go to your about phone and then tap the build number multiple times, which sounds weird, but that's exactly how you do it on Android to get developer options. So with that, you've activated developer options. Once you've activated developer options, you can then check USB debugging. You can read this guide in detail, but more importantly, there is this GitHub that is linked right here, which links to a Magia Record auto updater. However, this one is as I said before, outdated. There's a link to the newer version. This one works. And what you do is, well, if you've never been to GitHub, don't worry about anything that it says right here. Just on the very right side, it says here releases, and you'll just download the first official release, where you just select the platform that you have, either Apple or Linux or PC Windows. And once you've downloaded it and put it on your PC somewhere, you unpack it. Don't worry about not seeing too much of it. You don't need to see too much of it. And over here, you just have the automatic updater exe file, and you just click on that, and it should just work. However, as I said, my phone isn't good enough to actually run Magia Record normally, so I'm actually gonna get an error towards the end of this. So there are some errors you can get here, but the one that I'm always getting is the one about an ABI, not an API, an ABI. Usually it's just the architecture of my CPU, because it's not good enough to run Magia Record. But if you have a phone that's good enough to run Magia Record and it's an Android phone, this should just work. And when you get a new version, you can just use this as well. Basically what this tool does is it grabs the newest version of Magia Record from, I think, the Google Store, and then just acts as if it's doing a vendor install. I think it's doing a vendor install on your phone. A vendor install basically bypasses region locking and bypasses some other requirements as well. But they're supposed to be used for like testing purposes, but you can totally just use it intentionally as a developer, and it's totally fine. It's not illegal or anything to do so. Like I said, it's an intended way of installing APKs. But yeah, that works unless your phone isn't good enough to run it, which is, I couldn't say this, but I have talked to other people who said that this indeed did work for them, so I know this is something that does work. And if you have to update the game at any point, you can just run the auto installer again. But of course, always, whenever you update your game, always make sure that beforehand you bound your account to a password and an player ID code or whatever. It's not the player ID, it's something else. This is the account ID, something like that. You know how to do that if you've played Mario before, where you can bind your account. And if not, as part of my Let's Play series for playing the Japanese server, I will, of course, the very first thing that I'll do after the tutorial will be to bind my account. So that is one way of doing it. That's probably the best way of doing it if you have a device that can just run Magia Record and it's an Android device. You can also do the same thing manually, which I wouldn't recommend, because it's basically doing the same thing that the automatic thing does, but, you know, manually. Although I have used this in the past. And yeah, in theory, you can just go through these points again, and I know that these bullet points at least do work, but something to keep in mind though, if you download the APK directly from anywhere for any of these steps, or for any other way of installing that is on this page, always make sure that you have the correct variant. So you can just download any of these two variants right here, either the architecture v8 or architecture v7. If any of these two don't work, you can try the other one. And in fact, this is the problem that I'm getting with the auto installer, because the auto installer gets the wrong architecture for the phone that I have. But in theory, if that's the problem, you can just do the manual install and you have the points right here. I'm going to skip the VPN stuff right now, and of course there's also the app cloner, which is very similar to the easy install, where you just download an app onto your phone, the app cloner right here, and then you can similarly install the correct APK. Once again, if one of the two variants doesn't work, try the other one and see if that one works, and see if that does the trick. In theory, easy install should also work, just as the way that I showed it with the emulator should also work on your phone in theory. And the same thing is, you can also download the modified cured APK. The thing is, I said in my other videos about this that maybe it's not the best way to use the modified APK, because as it also mentions right here, it violates terms of service, which means that you could run into some problems. Also, you never quite know what people have put in there. Like, people have said, oh, the people who create the modified APK might spy on your personal data or whatever. It's all just stuff that is theoretically possible. Like, it's theoretically possible for someone to mess with the APK when you download it. It's also theoretically possible that you get banned for this. The thing is, though, in practice, none of this has ever happened. In practice, people haven't actually ran into problems with the APK in terms of, you know, getting banned or something like that. So it hasn't happened yet in 3 years. So chances are might never happen. But it's still something that you should tell people, that this is at least possible, that someone could mess with this, or that you could get banned for using a modified cured APK. But even so, this is at least a way to play the game where you can just download it and install it and it just works. So in theory, the simplest way to do it, but also the most dangerous one in theory. In practice, not so much. So by the way, it says right here, modified APK files on the Reddit on Discord. So on the Discord, I'm not going to show it right now, but there is a channel that we have. It's called JP Game General. I'll be linking an invite link to the Discord below, and in there, in the JP Game General, there are pins, and in the pins you should find a message that links to the APK, the EX APK as they call it. And also we have a channel called JP Help, and this is also something that I'm going to tell you guys for the rest, because there's also, of course, everything that I've just said is all for Android, because Android is just that good for developer stuff. For developer stuff, Android is that good. But for iOS, yeah, how do you actually do it on iOS? I don't have an iOS phone, and I don't know many people that have an iOS phone. So because I live in Germany, and in Europe in general, iOS isn't really a big deep thing at all. So I wasn't able to find many other people who had this right here. However, in theory, if you go through the steps, I've heard people using these steps and they say, yo, it works. But if you have any problem with this, as I mentioned in the Discord, there's a channel called JP Help, and in JP Help, in that channel, you can ask questions on how to get the game to run. There are also pins in that channel with special information that other people like frequently ask questions on how to get the game to run. And I just hope that even though I wasn't able to show it to you guys, specifically demonstrated, as I said, I have used at least some of this in the past, with a little bit of brute force here and there to get it to run on my mobile phone, even though it's supposed to not, and it was terrible. But as I said, it is possible, and I know a lot of other people who have made it work with this, so I know that these steps do work. And if you have a problem, you can come to the JP Help channel, and we will make sure to get this stuff running for you. So that was that. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below to ask about anything, and hopefully I see you on the Discord, and I see you in future videos as well. So I hope to see you guys next time.